Sally, you've been ARLA President, you've run a big franchise, you've been all around the country, you're one of the most well-known letting agents in the country. I'd like to find out a bit more about you, the story behind Sally Lawson, your journey from starting an agency to today, the ups and downs. So, when did you want to become a letting agent?
I'm like 99% of letting agents. I fell into it, and I think nobody really grows. This is one of the things I'd like to change, actually, Chris. Nobody grows up saying, I want to be a letting agent. I would like that to change, but we didn't, and we don't. So I was there 18 years old, and I got a job working at a letting agency in the city centre of Birmingham. And I didn't know anything. I knew nothing about lettings whatsoever. I can remember walking in on my first day, this big counter from side to side. I remember sitting there, like you are, a little bit nervous, and someone, Steve will come and show you what to do, and I did all that. And it was probably about 20 minutes in when this huge man walked in, and literally, I swear, there was steam coming out of his ears, and he leaned across the desk and he went, "Where's my rent?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll just get the manager for you." And I ran off, got the manager call, pushed him out and sort of hid at the back. I was like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with that man?" Little did I know this became a regular occurrence, and over the next few weeks there was landlord after landlord after landlord coming in demanding their rent. I was working for a crooked agent. I didn't know it at the time. But what I thought was, if this was done properly, if we actually paid the landlords the rent and did the job properly, wouldn't this be a great business? And so off I went, and I set up on myself. It's easy, isn't it, Chris? All you need is
So what year was this then?
And
When did you start up your own agency?
That was 1990. Perfect timing.
Because there was not many letting agents out there at the time.
No.
So how old were you at that time?
I was 18 years old, Chris.
And you set your own agency?
I was set up my own letting agency.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So I sat there at my kitchen table with a phone. It wasn't a proper phone, corded phone, a piece of paper, and I put a little classified advert saying landlords wanted, another little one saying tenants wanted, and then somebody rang and was like, "Oh, that phone's wrong." I went to meet this guy, I was living in Sutton Coldfield at the time. I went to meet this guy in Wolverhampton. I was like, "Wolverhampton, where's that?" I didn't even know where it was. And I drove all the way from Sutton Coldfield, drove all the way into Birmingham to get to Wolverhampton, because I remember seeing a sign to Wolverhampton going that way. You should do. Anyway, took this property on. It was absolutely trashed, completely wrecked. Some students who completely had a bonfire in the front room and everything. And I thought, I'll rent this to a builder, which I did. And off we went, and sort of the history carried on from there. But it was perfect timing if you think about it. The Housing Act had just changed in 1989, and it was just absolutely perfect timing. But as I say, we were one of one letting agent exclusive at that time. So
what happened in the 90s then? You just slowly built up your agency?
The first few years, slowly. The big change for us was really when we moved to Wolverhampton, because we were based in Sutton Coldfield, but all of our business was over here. So I was driving every single day. But when we opened up a shop front in 1995 in Chapel Ashton, Wolverhampton, it absolutely exploded. We went from 1 member of staff to 10 members of staff in 1 year.
Wow.
Absolutely flew.
Big growth.
It was big, massive growth. And the shop front really was the big difference. And we were visible. We're in the town. We're exclusively lettings, and we actually took off. We were market leaders for years and years and years. We just grew and grew and grew every single year. So it was phenomenal. But you know what it's like, Chris, when you get to, you have this, I remember when I first started, it was like, imagine if we had 30 properties under management. It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? But then if you fast forward to 2005, if you get to that point where you dream for something and then you get there and it's not quite what you wanted. I got the business to a place where it sort of didn't need me anymore. The staff were running.
Hundreds of properties, lots of staff.
It was about 500 properties under management, 13 staff. There was a branch manager, a lettings manager, a property management manager, accounts manager, and they just didn't need me anymore.
Were you bored?
I was bored, absolutely bored. I found my mantra. It was creating manuals. So I started creating manuals for everything. I was creating manuals, process sheets, systems.
You were the systems queen.
I was annoying the hell out of them all, Chris. I was just driving them mad. And it was actually the day I found myself creating a process for emptying the dishwasher. I decided.
And you're friends with John Paul, aren't you? Because he's the king of systems.
Absolutely. I'm sure we could have lots of very boring conversations together. But
he has systems on how to make systems.
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
There you go. So you had this system on emptying the dishwasher.
Emptying the dishwasher.
Was that what happened then?
I knew I had to do something. I said, "Sally, you got to do something." And the staff were just like, "Oh, another one." I said, "I've got to do something." So I started interviewing business coaches. Well, I don't know if you've ever had much interaction with business coaches, but they usually steal your watch and tell at the time. That's generally what they do.
Thankfully mine doesn't, but
that's
go on.
Good. But no, there are some good ones. But I started interviewing them, and it was quite interesting because they just kept coming through, and they were all telling me the same thing. I'll help you systemise your business. I was like, oh, you mean like this? And we'll help you manage your KPIs. I'm like, oh, you mean like this? We're investors in people. We train our staff. I said, I need something else. Come on. The staff were actually taking bets on how long these people would last in my office. It was that bad. And then this one guy came in and he said, I need to think about this. I mean, it was a funny looking guy in a polyester suit and virtually plastic shoes. And I thought, I'm never going to see this guy again. But he came back a couple of weeks later and said, I've got the £5 million plan for you.
The £5 million plan?
Now you've got my interest. What is it? He says, we're gonna productise Lawson's. I went, pardon? He said, we're going to productise Lawson's. I said, what on earth do you mean? He said, franchise. I went, franchise Lawson's? He went, yeah. I went, oh. And that's what we ended up doing. So we ended up franchising Lawson's and moving on that over the next few years. And it was great. I love franchising, but the market's got hard.
So when did you start the franchising then?
We started the franchises in 2010. So from 2010 we've been doing franchising. It's been great.
Because we met in 2011-12 when I was at Belvoir Lettings as head of franchise sales. And why did you set up the franchise under a separate brand of Concentric?
Oh, do you know the amount of times you've been asked that question? And the answer is I shouldn't have done. I should have stuck to Lawson's. But hindsight is a great educator. The reason being was that when I launched the franchise, I did it with Carl. We did it together. And Lawson's was my brand, was my name, and the franchise was going to be me and him together. So I wanted something generic. I wanted something that wasn't. And I also thought if I was running a business, I don't know if I'd want someone else's name over the door. So there was various reasons why we decided to go down the Concentric route. We probably should have stuck to Lawson. It would have been a lot easier.
Okay, so you started selling franchises. How did it go?
It went really well. We sold 9 franchises in our first year. It absolutely flew. Did really, really well, which was great. Then you're stuck in got to help these people and manage these people and really focus on. And I really am an over-deliverer in value, and so I pretty much stopped selling other franchises and just focused on the ones I've got and just really focused on helping them grow their businesses. And we had some phenomenal successes over the next few years. You know, some major growth. Just really just focusing on the ones we've got. Whereas a lot of the franchises were saying to me, you know, you need to be selling more. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to focus on the ones that I got rather than have this massive empire of franchisees.
Because it does cost a lot of money.
Oh, phenomenal.
To grow a franchise.
Oh, honestly, you need deep pockets, big deep pockets, and you need nerves of steel really, because you know when you've sold somebody a franchise and they come in and they're in your business, you've then got a responsibility and an obligation to support that person and help them and make them succeed. And it's hard. It's not easy because it's down to their actions, and that's the challenge.
Because I think a lot of people, when it comes to franchising, not everyone, a lot of them buy a job and they kind of expect the franchisor to do all the work, when in reality you're there to lift them up the ladder and help them, but they still have to put the hard work in, don't they?
Yeah, and I think it's a shame, you know, that when we have, I think we had about 2 people actually bought a franchise from us, but never started, and I find that phenomenal. I mean, why would you buy a franchise and then never start? And you know, no matter how much you talk to people and say it's going to be hard, it's going to be this. We were doing personality profiling. We were, you know, I was talking people out of it, saying, you know, you've got to do this. To still have that outcome, I found very disappointing really in the franchising world. So for me, I love working with people. I love developing people, but I don't really want to have a huge empire of franchises. That's not for me.
So how many franchises do you have at the moment?
We've got 8.
8, and you're happy with that?
No, we don't want any more. We're happy with that.
Okay, so you're growing your existing you're helping the existing network grow their own franchises. You've got your Lawson's own agency, which I know is doing very, very well. What the hell did you then want to go and be ARLA President for?
A glutton for punishment, perhaps. I think it's. I mean, I've always been an advocate for not working in your business. So I'm very fortunate. I don't work in my letting. I've got 2 letting agencies. I don't work in either of the letting agencies. I don't have anything to do with them. My co-director Dawn runs those. The franchise, Dawn oversees the operations there.
You're very lucky to have Dawn, if you don't mind saying.
She's phenomenal, isn't she? She's a cracker. She is. She bosses me around, you know. She tells me.
Well, she should do.
I know, yeah, she's quite fierce, but she's brilliant. So for me, it was a no-brainer really. What I love is working with someone, whether it's a member of staff in my existing businesses or whether it was one of the franchisees. When you help them do X, Y, Z, and then amazing things happen. For me, that's what makes me feel good. It's better than any of the money that you get paid. It's seeing that success. And so I started to get loads of people saying to me, first of all, it started off with the social media. Sally, how do you do the social media? Sally, how do you do the social media? I said, oh, crikey, so many people asking me. I said, tell you what, I'll put on a course. And then it went from that. So what do you do in your letting agencies? How do you do this? And sort of it just sort of evolved. And now I love it. I absolutely love the training side of it.
I mean, in a previous video, you were talking about how you change people's lives. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's something I feel like I think my thing is I like to refurbish people. I love to help people. I love to be part of their story, part of their journey. I've got staff here that, like Dawn, you've mentioned Dawn, for example. I mean, she came to me, she was a single mom, she was earning virtually nothing, and she's now my co-director and ops director, and she's
It is a bit of a religion here, if you don't mind me saying.
It is.
It's a cult.
It is cult-like, it is, and it's not a cult, but it is what we have a rule here at Agent Rainmaker. If we can't 10x what you pay us, we won't do it. We don't want to do it. If we can't have 10 times the value of whatever you're paying us for anything, we don't want to deal with it. And we will turn you away, because if we're not getting the success stories and we're not giving you the value, then we shouldn't be doing it.
So you've gone down this helping letting agents in small courses, big courses. Let's bring it back to ARLA. What the hell did you want to be ARLA President for? Because you can wave goodbye to half your year doing that.
Yeah, I think it was about 90 days of the year, which
Wow.
is phenomenal. 90 days of appointments and planes and trains and automobiles and sitting in cafes and Costas and all the rest of it. But it was an experience.
You must have got some air miles.
Yeah, I wish I did actually. I didn't really utilise the air miles. I missed a trick there, didn't I? Why do I want to do it? Because I think it was such an opportunity to be able to see parts of the country that I wouldn't normally see. And I mean agents in parts of the country, to be able to go to Scotland, to be able to go to Northern Ireland, to be able to go to Wales, to be able to see agents all across the country and see their challenges and really get a huge understanding of what is going on in this market. And it was perfect timing for me, really, because Dawn had really taken over the operations of the management hub, and she'd taken over the operations of the letting agencies, and really just set me free, ready to do that.
What did you get out of those meetings personally?
An understanding of how different it is in Durham, let's say, compared to London. I mean, I've never really had any involvement in the London markets up until being part of ARLA, but to go in there and see what they do, it's just a different world to how we do things here. It's completely different.
But is it also the same?
It is, yeah. It's also the same, but it is a different perspective. It's different challenges, different mindsets, but the business is fundamentally the same, but done in a different way.
And did you have any takeaways that have really changed the way you run it as a letting agent?
I don't think there's one big takeaway, but what I do believe is that it's part of everything that I do. All the little bits, the little conversations, the little tricks and tips, the challenges they faced and what they did to overcome them, and all those little things are all part of everything that I talk about. Everything that I do in boot camp and Agent Rainmaker is a collection of everything that I've consumed over the last 3 to 4 years, and some. And we take this knowledge, this education, this information. We then test it out versus one of our strategy board members or whatever. We trial it, we test it, we see if it works, and then we roll it out. So it's everywhere. Everything that I've learned is part of everything that I do. It's not one real thing. Other than I don't like travelling all the time. That's a big takeaway.
What's in the last 20 years or so? What's been your biggest regret?
That's a tough one, Chris. My biggest regret. Okay, I think one of the things I should have done that I didn't do was probably start doing sales earlier. I didn't do sales in my branch until about 2.5, 3 years ago, and despite numerous people telling me I should do it, I was like, no, we're just lettings. I think I probably should have done sales earlier, and I think I probably should have started doing training a bit earlier than I did, but
Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
absolutely.
Thanks, Sally.
Thank you, Chris.
Cheers.